Welcome to my channel. I'm Gayle, and today we're going to do a tutorial on half moon. So half moon is one of those poses that tends to be challenging for a lot of people. I know it was really challenging for me in the beginning, and I started doing half moon at the wall, and it really helped a lot to understand the balance, to give me time to engage where I needed to engage, and then be able to shift off the wall gradually. So half moon requires strength. It requires some openness of the shoulders, open hamstrings, strong glutes, a good proprioception awareness of where our body is, like where our hips are over our foot, how the weight is balanced on our foot, and a lot of different things. So in this tutorial, we're going to do some strengthening, some lengthening, some balance, and really have fun with this. Okay, so the only props that you really need is maybe a couple of blocks. And if you need extra padding for your knees, like a blanket is always handy. So let's get started on our hands and knees. So come on into tabletop and try and find a neutral spine. So that's keeping the belly lifted, core engaged. And from there begin to cat-cow. So doing your cat-cow can help you find the neutral spine. So we're not in a big cat position, and we're not in a big, we're not in a big cow position, and we're not in a big cat position. Or somewhere in between. And stretch your left leg out, keep the belly engaged, turn the glutes on, lift your left leg up and float your right arm up. And just see if you can hold here, nice and steady. And bring your right hand down, and we're just gonna shift our hips. So I'm stacking my hip, the hips are nice and open, and squaring the hip. I'm not doing this with my leg, I'm not bringing my leg behind me to open up the hip. I'm working from within the hip muscles so that I can end up stacking my left hip over my right hip. And this is what we need to do in half moon, is have this stacking action. I'll do the same thing other side. Stretch the right leg out. Keep the belly nice and engaged and lifted. Lift your leg up. Float the left arm up. Keep the leg nice and strong and steady. So this back leg is really engaged. Whether my toes are pointed or flexed, my leg is engaged. And then you lower your hand down and stack the hips and parallel. So there's very little movement in my leg front to back. It's not swinging at all. It's just pivoting on the hips. And this is really key to half moon and to a lot of other poses. So bring your leg back down. And then we're gonna work on some core strength. So come down onto your forearms. We're gonna come into forearm plank. So you can do this with your knees on the ground or your knees lifted. But press weight into your hands. Start to lift your belly away from the floor. Tuck your toes. And keep your spine nice and long. Try and relax your neck and shoulders. Squeeze those legs in. Keep your tailbone reaching towards your heels and your chest reaching forward a little bit. Good, and lower down. So while we're taking a little break from forearm plank, let's stretch out the quads a little bit. Pull your heel into your hip, push back into your hand, resist. And pull your heel in towards your hip and then let it go. So it's important not to fight the lengthening of our muscles, but to try and engage them and work them gently. Gently but firmly. And release your hand, same thing other side. So push your foot into your hand, resist, and then see if you can draw your heel in a little closer and let it release. Good, then come back onto your forearms. Lift up through your belly, tuck your toes, and lift up into your forearm plank. So squeeze the legs. The legs are just as important. We really want to engage the whole body. So the legs are just as important as the shoulders. You don't want to let your back arch. That could really kind of hurt your back, not feel good. I mean, this is hard work. You can start timing your forearm planks if you want and just see if you can maybe get up to 1 minute and then maybe 2 minutes. We're not going to go that far here. Remember to breathe. Come out early if you need to. If you feel any back pain, come out early. And lower your knees down. Open up through your chest. Take a couple nice deep breaths in. And walk your hands back, switch back into child's pose. Let yourself just relax here. So you can stay in child's pose for a little bit longer while I talk about the shoulders. So having open shoulders is really important in half moon. So it's nice to do a nice relaxing shoulder opener. So we'll take our blocks and we'll stack them in line with each other. And the idea is my head is going to be on the block and the block is going to be just like here, like kind of coming down to the low ribs. Now, if your shoulders are very tight, you could have the blocks on the lower height. And you could also maybe have a little towel or something for a pillow if it feels like, your head is just being slung back. Otherwise, kind of line up your body with the blocks, try and lift up through your chest and lower your back onto the blocks. And you can move around till you find a really comfortable place for this. Your legs can be straight, they can be bent, they can be in Baddha Konasana. A little too close to the wall here, so this knee won't go down. So your choice. I'm trying to find a really comfortable place right here for the blocks on my back. And these blocks are cork blocks, so they're not as soft as foam blocks. So it's important to take time to find the place that feels where you can actually relax. And this helps to let gravity help to spread the shoulders open. The blocks are lifting up through the back of your heart, and since there's nothing underneath your shoulders, they just kind of drop open. So try and let the ribs relax. Let your breath relax. Maybe you feel a little stretch across your chest. We'll just stay here a few more breaths. This is a good thing to do every day if you can. Make the time for it. And then we'll slowly come off the blocks. Move them to the side for now, or in front of your mat, and come right back onto your back. So you can really experience how that opening the shoulders, opening up their upper back really affects your whole spine. Everything is connected. We have all these connective tissues that are interwoven. And so what we do with our feet, we can feel all the way up into our shoulders and neck. So just let yourself relax here. And then roll to your side. We're going to come back into tabletop, and I feel like this is like a little mini half moon practice on our hands and knees. So you can choose to tuck your toes and bring your foot out to the side, or you could point your toes and keep your toes in line with your knee, or flex the foot here. The easiest position is foot just slightly turned out, and stretch the top leg. In this case, it's the left leg for me. Stretch the leg out, so I'm on my right knee. And then reach your left arm up, reach your left leg up. Look at your foot. You want your ankle in line with your hip. So your ankle, your knee, and your hip are in alignment. And this leg is strong. It's not just hanging out there. This would be just a limp leg. This is a strong leg. And so flexing your foot, you can feel it all the way up into your abs, into your core, into your back. And then you can lower your foot to the floor and reach this other arm down and lift and lower and lift and lower. And this will practice helping you to stack your hips, use your core to find your balance, use your glutes to hold your leg up. And then we'll switch sides. So again, I'm just going to tuck these toes, turn out a little bit, keep this hand a little bit wider than my shoulder, flex your foot, reach your arm and leg up, keep the back leg really strong, and then lower it down, a little stretch, and lift, and lower, and lift into your plant, and lower. One more time. So I'm trying to stack my arms, open up the shoulders, stack the hips, keep the top leg strong, and lower down. So we'll do that one more time, and this time if you want to try the more challenging version, so your foot is in line with your knees, toes are not tucked. I'm going to bring my right hand a little bit out to the side. I'm going to really engage the core, engage this glute, lift my leg up, and reach my arm up. And then lower the leg, stretch your arm, inhale up, exhale stretch, inhale up, exhale stretch. Come on down, other side. So this foot is in line with my knee, my hand's a little bit out to the side. Stretching that leg up, reaching the arm up, and lift the leg, and stretch, and lift to keep it nice and strong. You could even look at your leg, make sure it's not way behind you. And lower, one more time, lift, and lower down. Tuck your toes, stretch back into your down dog. And walk your hands back to your feet. Inhale, lift up halfway, exhale, bow. Press into the earth, inhale, rise all the way up. We'll just do one shoulder stretch at the wall. So bring your elbow to the shoulder height or a little bit higher. Press your hand into the wall and just start to gently turn your chest, maybe turn your feet away from the wall as you push your hand into the wall. And you should feel a big stretch across your pec and into the armpit. Try and keep the ribs back and the head lifted so you're not like dropping the head. And then when you slowly come out, just release the pressure a little bit and switch sides. Same thing, other side. So plant into your feet, lift up to your heart. A little bit of turning away, keeping the neck nice and long. Good. And then come back. And now we're going to actually go into half moon pose using the wall. So the wall is a great guide to help you to line up your hips and stack your shoulders. So I'm going to take my block, and you can use it on the highest height to start with. If you're a beginner, you can use it on the middle height. I'm going to place my foot just, the block against the wall, foot just to the inside of the block, and step it back about, 6 or 8 inches, and lower my hand to the block, lift my leg up, and hips to the wall, both hips to the wall, both shoulders to the wall, arms reaching up. Little soft bend in the knee, and then notice where the weight is in your foot. It's important to keep the weight into your heel, to not lean too far forward, and this will not allow you to bring your leg behind you too much. And then you can try, your gaze down, your gaze up. You can start to gradually shift away from the wall. Whoops. Let me try that again. So you can gradually shift away from the wall, get your hip off the wall, your leg off the wall. But the wall's always there to kind of catch you and guide you. It's easier to start with your gaze down And it's important to look at your knee of the standing legs so that it's not turning in, so that your ankle and your arch isn't collapsing, but they're engaged and strong. And this back leg is strong. Okay, let's try the other side. Same thing here. Step the foot so it's just inside the block, about, I don't know, 6 or 8 inches away from your hand. It's going to depend on the length of your torso. So basically, we don't want the hand, the arm slanting in or out. More or less as straight as you can. Bring your leg up, open the hips. You can even push your heel into the wall to help engage that leg. Reach your arm up. Start to draw your hip away from the wall if you can, that left hip away from the wall. And maybe reach your arm and your foot off the wall. So keeping your body super engaged is really important. Try not to lean into the block too much. If you wanted to, you could try lowering your hand to the floor, playing with the balance. And bring your top hand down and come into a squat. So since this is a tutorial, you can warm down on your own. You can play with coming into half moon from different positions. But using the wall is a great way to learn, and learning like where the balance points are is also really important. So I'm trying to keep this tutorial kind of short, but if you like the tutorial, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and leave me a comment. I can make more videos like this. I'm putting together a half moon flow, so look for that video. And if you want a little more detail with this tutorial, let me know. So thank you so much for joining me. Hope you have a wonderful day. Namaste.